and go out and find those lawyers, the ones that will represent you in drug court. If you got a drug charge, you got to stand for pro bono when you go out and take a stand because of your convictions. That's what needs to happen. And we need to take down these monuments to people like Tillman. We need to look at these names of these streets. And it's not going to be difficult because you know what? The name Pinckney, the name Middleton, the name Hammond, the name Brown, the name Jefferson, all very common black names come from the plantation. Because that's how deep it is. That's the fight. So this is just the beginning of the fight. We know that there are people in prison and in jails disproportionately. That's structural racism. We know that if you're black and stopped by the police, the chances of you getting shot and killed, that's structural racism. We got to deal with racial profiling. We got to deal with the war on drugs. We got to start talking about drug legalization and fight for that, not be afraid of that, because that takes the weapon of profiling out of the hands of the police. President Obama's talking about granting pardons for nonviolent drug offenders. We need to pressure him to make sure he does that. We need to change the drug laws and take on the drug laws. And then, for the police officers that break the law, who believe that they are the law, they need to be prosecuted by independent Citizens Review Board. There are things to do. We got to go beyond demanding Medicaid expansion and demand universal health care. We got to demand free public education instead of university going on a building boom and people can't afford to pay for the college anymore. They're in debt the rest of their lives. We ought to be talking about free public education. Instead of spending $1.5 million per troop per tour for Afghanistan and Iraq, because that was the tally, we ought to be talking about free public education. There are a lot of things that we have to do. We need to get organized. Don't believe that when that flag comes down, the fight is over. Don't just come and meet black folk and white folk at the spot of protest and demonstrations. Organize. Go to meetings. Learn the history of our struggle. Learn the history of their so-called struggle. Because you got to know your enemy. And we got to fight back. It is time to organize for the future, to teach our kids and our grandkids that this can be the beloved community that Dr. King spoke of. Fight on, right on, power to the people.